Dear friends, welcome back. We are on 𝗧𝗺𝗺𝗃 right now. Samubasha 𝗧𝗺𝗺𝗃 emredua yefa 𝗧𝗺𝗺𝗃 baako na yede atudwa na afi yaje ho nchiremu ne enchirase. Now this morning we are happy to have two very important people in the studio to discuss matters on combating human trafficking. So today we are looking at combating human trafficking. And with me in the studios are first Assistant Superintendent of Immigration, Yussif Misbawu. He is lead investigator and prosecutor of the Anti-Human Trafficking and Smuggling in Person Unit, 𝗧𝗺𝗺𝗳𝗺 of Ghana Immigration Service. Mr. Misbawu, you're welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
That is quite a long designation.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I'll come back and ask what really your department or your segment does. But okay. Let's also introduce Madam Elizabeth Poku. She is also the program coordinator, Global Freedom Network. Madam, you're also welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right. So let's start from you. What does Global Freedom Network does?
Okay, Global Freedom Network is the faith-based arm of Walk Free, which is an international human rights organization. And it was set up to eradicate modern forms of slavery. Okay. So we tackle issues like human trafficking, forced marriage, forced labor, debt bondage, and child marriage. And what we've been doing is we've been engaging faith leaders to take spiritual and practical actions to fight slavery. We also empower them to mobilize their efforts and to collaborate with the public, private, and civil sectors. We also work with governments. So we work with the governments of the world's 10 leading economies. Okay. Yeah. So we had our first African Declaration signing ceremony here on the 5th of August at the Kempinski in Accra.
Last year, you mean?
Yeah, in 2021.
Oh, in 2021,
yes.
Okay.
And 14 religious leaders in Africa of different denominations signed a declaration against slavery, which includes human trafficking. And since then, we launched the world's first smartphone app dedicated to faith leaders, known as the Faithful Freedom app. And that has a lot of information about human trafficking, about the 2005 Human Trafficking Act, the different agencies.
We'll be back to really break what you have told us down. Yeah.
Yes, okay.
I wish you could speak a little. Yeah. Can you greet in Chi? Elizabeth Poku, or you training? All right. Okay. I mean, just hello in Chi, so your people will just know that you are here. It is saying.
Me who yeah.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. Viewers, we know you bear with us. Sometimes you want us to speak the tree in Fantening crime. And then so please bear with us as we move along. But I'm very sure this conversation will really benefit you. Let's go to 𝗧𝗺𝗺𝗃. Yes. I also wanted you to greet in your language so your people will know you are here.
Yo, munaso muhi batung human trafficking. Yeah. I'm just saying good morning, and that we'll be discussing human trafficking today.
That is good. So, from where you sit, Mr. Misbawu, what will you consider as human trafficking?
Yes. Good morning to your viewers, and good morning to your good self. Human trafficking in its simple term, because we don't want to be too professional.
Yes.
Break it down to the understanding of the viewers. Okay. Human trafficking simply it's the recruitment, the transfer, the harboring of persons for the purposes of exploitation, but with the use of force, coercion, threat, deceit, in order for that particular person to benefit. Okay. Let me go
slowly.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like someone recruiting, harboring the fellow, transferring the same
So in other
person.
words, recruiting means that somebody goes into a cohort and try to look for people intentionally. So that will be the recruiting. Yes. The second one.
And then for the purposes of exploitation.
Okay. You spoke about harboring.
Yeah. No. The harbor. Yes. These are the means.
Okay. So recruiting and harboring.
transfer.
Transfer, okay.
And then receipt. Even if you receive,
okay.
Let's say somebody recruits and you receive them, that is the act.
Okay.
Then when you go to the means, how it is done,
okay.
that is by threat. Sometimes they deceive them. Sometimes they abuse the position of their power.
Okay.
Then sometimes too they abuse their vulnerability. That is the victims.
Okay.
They know that they is vulnerable. Then they take advantage of it. That is the means. Okay. And the purpose for all that they have done is to exploit them. Okay. And the exploitation can take in various forms, like sexual exploitation, labor, and sometimes even organ harvest.
Oh, all right. All right. Very interesting. We'll be looking at all the three forms you have just mentioned. So in other words, when a human being, and for human trafficking, we are talking about human beings.
Yes.
I'm sure there could be animal trafficking, but this time we are talking about human beings, where a human being possibly is removed out of his or her comfort zone through a certain form of coercion into a form of labor, into a form of assistance that is not in the interest of the person. Inti ahwefo na ye ka se eye se onipa bi ebeba ni Poku bi mu na wa be fa nipa ode ahoden so ana da enefe die eyi nipa bi efiri eye baabi a wono wo enkanka ya na nkwala na bebre na ye Yussif na ye de na akwa ye dwuma bi ye de na akọ apa bi mu a ono won hyeda empe empo na yebra Misbawu kakra se itimi kra ba se yitimi di nipa no ko yi na kwa ni bi a ye friend human organ efi ni mu e di yi bibi bi kra na yitimi ma no ko se sebio be si wa bra yi se obegina kwa ho na wa ye sa nyoma we nyina yitimi. Let's come to Lizzie and also ask from your opinion, what do you think human trafficking is?
Yeah, so human trafficking refers to the movement of people for exploitative purposes, and that could be in country or across borders, and it can be for labor exploitation or sexual exploitation. And some examples could be in the agriculture and fishing sector. In the agriculture sector, the cocoa farms, young people being exploited on the cocoa farms, being made to work. In the on the Volta Lake, young children being made to work in the fishing villages, maybe preparing fish on the shore, fixing nets, things like that, but they're at risk because they're very young. And then there are other forms of labor exploitation like domestic servitude. So someone can be trafficked to become a domestic servant from one part of Accra to another. And then you have gold mining or begging. Someone can be trafficked to do begging or portering or quarrying or street hawking. So people can be trafficked for the purposes of that, for exploitation. And then there's sexual exploitation. So people who engage in the commercial sex trade. Maybe someone can be moved from one part of Ghana to another to engage in prostitution. And then you have people who are trafficked abroad, so people who are lured by promises of good work in maybe Middle East, West Africa or Europe. They accept a job opportunity. When they get there, they find that it's a different situation. Maybe their passport is seized. They become slaves to their master. And they're being abused emotionally, physically. Maybe they're not paid their wages, so they become so that's another form of trafficking.
So at what point does slavery come in? Because for the work you do within the global freedom fraternity, how do you mention slavery? At what point in time are you still talking about the slavery which occurred many years ago, or you still think that people are still being trafficked into slavery, especially abroad?
Yeah, so this is not the transatlantic slave trade in the past, but it's modern slavery. And this is illegal slavery because because the master doesn't have the legal right over the person. There's no legal ownership, as in the past where there was, but even that was wrong. So people are entrapped. They're enslaved by the traffickers. They're being exploited. So those who take up opportunities abroad, they are exploited by the people who are taking care of them or supposed to be taking care of them, their owners, their landlords, so they're being they're slaves to those who to their traffickers. They become enslaved by their traffickers.
All right. Fantastic. Before I go to Mr. Misbawu, let's greet a wonderful brother who is also an immigration officer with the 𝗛𝗂𝗺 Command. He's also an investigator, Senior Inspector 𝗬𝗂𝗺𝗂𝗂. Misbawu, you should know him.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So he also says this, he knows you. He's watching, and
okay.
all the entire command at 𝗛𝗂𝗺, you are all watching. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that, how does slavery, in your opinion, as an immigration officer, okay? Obviously, when people are immigrated or migrated through the form that is through coercion, how does it end up in slavery for you? So the process.
Yes. So usually what happens is that when trafficking occurs, there are three basic elements we normally look out for.
Okay.
The act, the means, and then the purpose that I explained.
All right.
So if you are able to establish the fact that all these three elements are actually happening, so we have trafficking. Then now, for the exploitation, that is the purpose. Okay. We have different ways or types of exploitation, as she mentioned. Yeah. One of them is slavery, and then it comes when the trafficker holds on to the victim, and to the extent that we have a trend as we speak now in the Gulf countries, they seek the services of maid servants, especially from Ghana. So when they get there, it is contractual. We have agencies here and agencies out there. So what they do is that it's about money. There is amount that they are giving down here to recruit and bring those girls. When they get there, the agency there too has an amount they are going to take from the masters, that is the houses that they are going to serve. Okay. So it is exorbitant. So once that master pays so much for that service, it in turn enslaves the victims. Okay. You understand? There are situations where we have girls complain to us that I was told when the work was unbearing, like you work for almost 20 hours daily. So you want to complain and they will tell you to keep quiet because you have been bought. So this is
you're a slave.
Yes, because he has paid so much for your services. So you don't come here and come and relax and sit down and watch TV with the family. No, you are going to be taken through all forms of maltreatment. So in my distance, this is how slavery comes in.
My major concern has been how these agents are not clamped down by your organization. I know your main duty is to investigate some of these matters. You know where they are, you know some of them, I know they have been reported. But I have not heard anywhere, and if it has, I do not have an idea, that each and every year these agents come to recruit our ladies and take them into the Gulf.
Yes, I share your sentiment. Yes. It's just that this is one of the platforms that we are using to speak out, and then let the world and Ghana know that we are actually frowning on it, and there is something that we shouldn't run away from. We don't frown on migration. Migration has its own positives. But it only becomes a problem when trafficking and the smuggling occurs. Okay.
In other words, you can't force anybody to stay put and not move.
That's it. So, but we have to regulate it. Okay. We have to find a way of fine-tuning that kind of movement. Okay. So, in trying to do so, we especially my unit, we are so biased that we only investigate and prosecute human trafficking and smuggling. Okay. So, with this, we are, capacity. We are constrained a little bit, but we are doing everything possible to clamp down on these agencies. Mind you, we have legally
established
agencies that are supposed to do recruitment. Okay. They are licensed by the Labor Department. Okay. We have them. So we work hand in hand with them when it comes to cases of trafficking, especially. So it's like clamping down. Normally, those who are involved in this kind of human trafficking are not registered. So going after them or going for them is always a little bit difficult. It's a challenge because the fellow does not have an office. is not properly registered. Investigating those kind of agencies and those cases, it's always a challenge. But we are seriously working on that.
Well, I think you should work a little bit faster.
Yes.
Lizzie, tell us your experience about how ladies are brought into sex slavery.
Okay.
If you can give me some examples, what is it that is told them? Obviously, economic and hardship in the country. Yeah. What is it that happens from your point?
Yeah, people get into the sex trade. They could be due to poverty, political instability, natural disasters, conflict. Yeah, there could be a number of push factors that lead people into sex slavery. You have cases of maybe people being trafficked from, say, Nigeria to Ghana to get into the sex trade, and it's because of desperation. The root cause is poverty, because there's a lack of money. So that because they don't have resources, they don't have money to look after themselves, they feel that this is the solution. So I think the root cause is poverty. That's the,
okay. So when they are trafficked and they get there, what happens to them? What are some of the complaints that they give? And are you in touch with some of them?
Well, we work with. We refer any victims that we come into contact with through our work to NGOs, so that these victims can get further support through the NGOs. Some of the complaints would be like when they arrive, some of them come with no money. They have no resources whatsoever, so they're on the streets, and they're at risk. They're risking their health. I think they find that it's not actually a solution, and they're being controlled by someone, controlled by a trafficker. So they find that this is not the solution. So I think a lot of them become disillusioned and see that it's not. Yeah,
all right. So let's see from the immigration point of view. Will we consider Ghana as endemic or pandemic to the whole idea of slavery? Is this something that is entrenched? Must we be terrified that human trafficking is so entrenched that it's a canker from the immigration point of view?
Yes, I totally yes. It's a problem.
Wow.
Because Ghana is per our distance is deemed or termed as a source country, a destination country, and a transit.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So in all this trafficking, it's so heavy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. As for this, let me translate a bit into the Twi so that our people can follow. Intina yedin komo efa se enipa omo ti omo baabi a esan ahokyere eni se wo pedwuma na bibi akona no nti so oya bofra o se oye oba o ye fa no na yede na konko asom bi mu a onipa no enye ni nsusuye ene na koma so ade na no na mibisa eye Mr. Misbawu say Ghana no eye ade eha ye pa se eye enkwasom a ye friend trafficking say ebe yi obi ede na kokoro bi so anampo Ghana akra ede ne be kɔ nkwasom bi eye ade a eji ntintima wa ha ana o ka say eye ampapa esane sa ha eye mfimfin pa amuna donko bi wa ha akoye se Ghana de nipa bebre no efa ha kɔ bebre so ba be yi enipa ni bi fi ha enti moma ye nyina ye nya hweyi o se o te se oba bi se maame manya visa bi me kɔ ha ananse manya dwuma bi me yese a mo nyina moma ye nhwehwe mu na ye hu because it is a problem. Misbawu, please continue. So I was asking whether Ghana is entrenched with this situation.
So as I said, the source, the transit and destination.
Okay.
It's as Madam mentioned, for here being a destination, we have our neighboring countries like Nigeria, Ivory Coast, and those French countries around us. They find Ghana a little bit safe haven for sex trade, especially. They come in their numbers, and then they come and serve. Normally, the trend is that you come and serve under a madam.
And that is for the sex trade.
For the sex trade, and they give you an amount to pay to work for. Of late is around 7,000 to 8,000 Ghana cedi
for the year,
for any period. you have to work. There is a book that you'll be doing daily sales.
You go and do sales and come and mark.
You do entries every blessed day. So they are able to confirm that you've worked for that kind of money, and then you are freed. So you also have that right to go and get somebody to work for you. So it becomes a cycle. So one madam can have no less than 10, 12, 15 girls working for her.
And housing them?
So when, yes, you're housing them. So when they are done serving, they also, you see how the numbers are increasing.
It's a cycle.
So it's like the 15 will also, even if they are bringing two, you can see the numbers, the way they are growing. So it's like, it's a problem. And then the transit, in a sense that because of our airport, you realize that in West Africa, we have one of the biggest airports. So we have a lot of flights this time around, and they are cheaper, and they are direct to most of the countries that this unsuspecting girls or traveling public go. Because in Sierra Leone like this, they prefer coming to Ghana to fly to the Gulf.
When I say transit?
Yes, when I say Gulf, that is the Arab countries around.
Yes.
So because we have direct flights, and then the flights too are cheaper here. So they intend to come in transit here. They always do. Then the source is that our own people, the agencies that we're talking about, advertise, recruits, and then send them out there, and they get trafficked.
Wow,
Yes.
it's very amazing. And if you do a cursory census of these people, they will say they are religious in one way or the other.
Yes.
And so I'm thinking how a well-trained religious person, whether it's Muslim, whether it's Christian, and even a traditionalist, will want to subject a fellow into such an ordeal. And then quickly my mind goes into the transatlantic trade, where people have accused the fact that the same ship transportation that brought the Bible possibly took some human beings away. I think that it's something that has to do with human nature. And Lizzie, how does religion come into play? We know slavery and even human trafficking in the Bible. You work with faith-based organization. How does it come to play with our faith and what we profess as loving your neighbor as yourself?
Yeah, so faith leaders, we work with faith leaders because we feel that they see into the hearts of communities. They are unique. They have a close relationship with their communities, the church communities, and they are well respected. So because of that, we feel that faith leaders they have a powerful voice. They create a safe, non-judgmental place for the victims, so victims can approach them, and they're able to notice changes in people's behavior within their communities. So we believe that the religious leaders are well placed to help solve this problem, help advocate. So we collaborate with them to advocate against this issue. And obviously in the Bible, God assisted the Israelites in fleeing from Egypt. So it's something that God is not happy with. Slavery is something that God frowns upon. That is the biblical view. So that's what religious leaders believe, that this is wrong. Slavery is wrong. Yeah. So we work closely with faith leaders, and we're a faith-based organization.
All right. Let's go back to immigration again, and we've looked at sex trade now. So now it's obvious. We have all wondered why some flush points in the central cities, Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, you will see, and when you pass the road, ladies will approach you once they see a car, and they'll be speaking languages that are not Ghanaian, or sometimes the diction and intonation, you see that as for this is really not a Ghanaian. Now we understand that people intentionally bring them their madams or their masters. I know men also engage in this as well, and put them across. Beyond the sex trade, what other form do we have people being trafficked for? Yes,
we have labor.
Okay.
Yes.
So some explanation for the labor.
So with the labor, it's the maid servant thing I was talking about, or any other work.
Farming.
That's it. Fishing, whatever. So what happens is the exploitative nature of it. Employment is not bad. Getting somebody into farming or getting somebody as a maid servant is not bad. But the fact that the fellow is working and you are benefiting from it. Okay. You benefit more than the fellow who is working. That is where we have a problem. So with the current trend we have now, it's more of our ladies being trafficked to their Gulf for workers, maid servants, and when they go, the conditions under which they are working and then the pay they are receiving, it doesn't commiserate. It doesn't match. Okay. So they find themselves overworking more than what they are getting. And then to react to the religious leader thing, we have something. We don't work with only trafficking. Okay. We have human smuggling. Okay. So the complicated nature of human smuggling is that people, I wouldn't limit it to only the religious leaders. People in the communities that we find ourselves in think that he is helping the fellow to travel to country A or country B. Okay. And the difference between that smuggling and trafficking is that with the smuggling, the fellow will facilitate your entry into a country that it is not your country. Okay. And then once he succeeds in getting you into that country, he leaves you there. But with trafficking, he succeeds in taking you to that country and keep exploiting you. Okay. So with the smuggling too, it's like there is consent. I wake up and walk up to you with my money and my documents and say, please help me to go to Canada. If you assist, it's not a problem. But in trying to assist and you fraudulently acquire documents and whatever in support of the application, and the fellow is able to actually get the visa and travel to Canada, you have smuggled the fellow. Oh.
And yes. When you get to Canada, I say goodbye to you.
Goodbye, because you have benefited financially or any other material benefits. Once you benefit from it. So it brings me back to the religious leaders. Listen, they will be helping. But at the end of the day, you might be thinking that you are helping, but you are smuggling the fellow.
Okay, so let's be a little bit more specific. How does religious leaders condone to this? Some religious leaders.
Yeah. So it is the education that a lot of people or the religious leaders are lacking.
Okay, which is?
You have to do it and do it right. As I earlier said, we don't frown on migration, acquisition of visas and what have you. But if it must be done, it must be done properly. So in trying to help, if you don't take time, there is just a thin line between helping and smuggling. So it will amount to smuggling if the documents and everything that you have used. Most of the time, they'll just ask you to bring a passport-size pictures. All the documents and the supporting documents that are going to be used for the passport and then the visa are just fictitious. So that amounts to smuggling. But in a sense, you might not think that you are smuggling the fellow. You are helping him get the visa and travel out because of poverty. And the fellow might even pay you, but still it amounts to smuggling.
Wow.
Yes.
And can you at any point in time report the person because I paid so and so amount to the person and here am I? Either you were not given the visa or you get to the country and you are stranded.
Yes. That is exactly what we are looking out for. People should feel free to walk to immigration and even police. If you detect this kind of cases, just come to us. We have the capacity to investigate those cases. But
you see, if you get the visa and you are in that country, this is the country. I mean, you mentioned Canada. You left and say, and to go and report. I mean, we have seen people gone there so stranded, but they are finding it very difficult. I don't know whether your organization is in contact with people like that.
Yes, we do. We are in contact with them. And then the complex nature of it is that it is very difficult to investigate and prosecute smuggling cases. Because a lot of times the people will tell you that you are pouring sand into my gari because I've gotten a visa, this man has assisted me to go here to do this, and you are using your law to say that it is illegal. Yeah. You see, often they will go through it in silence. Like they prefer to suffer than to bring it for you to take to court and those kind of whining processes. So often smuggling is on the quiet because of the way it is done. Because there's no exploitation. And even sometimes there is consent. The fellow consents that, oh, please take me to country B or country A. You get it? So getting them complaining to us, it's sometimes a little bit quiet.
The person possibly is praying to God. God, this is what I want. This is what I want. Finally, he ends up there. He's been defrauded, but to also come back and be able to complain. Elizabeth, I'll come back to you, but I want to do a quick wrap up of all we have been discussing in our local language, so our friends and our cherished viewers can appreciate us. Yeah. Today, one of the things we've been discussing on air, whilst you were sitting, you were listening, is the use of the local language on air, so a lot of people can appreciate. Indina, yeah, can say, yeah. Human trafficking na ye can say ade a etia Ghana mra nti ye papa immigration officer Misbawu ana ye mame Elizabeth ono mo ha omo chirechire mu na ye pa chere say betimi aba say obi beba won chan beka say obemu atukwan ana say wo kura obeka onipa ne ho akoka chen so oh bra ana say sister obetimi aboa me amama tukwan ana obetimi apadwuma mame e wa amanone no nipa na ka so metimi na emu nkofa sa sika we na no ka sika omoje sika pudu enkanka ema ewo mu obi ebetimi efi eye ebibremu ha ya na bi Ghana ni bi hyase no ka so ye di nipa bi efi Ivory Coast nipa bi efi Nigeria ne aba betnase na wo ba ebi a madam bi na wo hye na se no wo ma wakwankyere ne fa ha ochena kose wo ba na sebi okogina kwan ho na odi sika ne ba oda ne nchen ona mu aduane nto no gi sika na wo wasan no atibia mo to usuzu nyini na aponkyerani utumi eba beye apotro kama na usuzu wesi krum na afi usuzu wakwa akoye madam papa na usuzu wa friend crofo ti na agoye kwa na ekoso saa but obehwe no na ede atete eni oyeni ana abre ye nyina nti muma ye nyina ye nhwe ni ye ye kasa ever human trafficking who asemende. Yes, Liz, I was asking what should be a solution to this. Your NGO is here to profess some solution. What should be the solution? Ghana is a hot flash zone for this. Yeah.
The government has put some measures in place to help solve this issue, like it has criminalized sex and labor trafficking. There's pre-departure training for migrant workers, those who are going abroad. The Ghana Immigration Service and the Ministry of Labour and Employment Relations have been trained on how to screen for trafficking indicators. But there are some gaps. So NGOs like myself are useful because we collaborate with some of these government agencies to try and raise awareness of these issues. We did a poster campaign in June 2022 where we designed posters with the anti-human trafficking hotline number 18555, and we placed those posters on STC buses and at VIP bus terminals. And we engaged with passengers and drivers to educate them on this issue of human trafficking. So we've done that campaign. There was also a poster campaign in places of worship on forced and child marriage. And we did a media campaign with Most Reverend Dr. 𝗂𝗂𝗧 actually, and also a member of the anti-trafficking unit, where we spoke on TV3 about some of the problems associated with cross-border migration. So we're here to create awareness of the issue and collaborate with some of the agencies to work together, to cooperate with other agencies to create awareness and to help tackle this issue. And we also we've launched an app called the Faith for Freedom app, which has a dedicated website, which is faithforfreedom.org. And when you go on that site, you'll be able to see information about trafficking, ways in which faith leaders can engage with their congregations to talk about this issue in their place of worship. There's a section where is called the referral pathway section, where you can access information for the different anti-human trafficking hot desk numbers in the different regions, and also different NGOs in different regions as well. So there's quite a lot of resources, information there as well. So we're trying to create an awareness and refer victims as well. So it's not just creating an awareness, but if we come into contact with victims, refer them for further support, for counselling, for material support as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Mami Lizzie na all kasanache so bia obehia mo be ye wi a ye de ne contact no ene eye nyoma bi a wo betimi ahwe so na ode atoa no omo so betimi aboa se o fa eye ohaw be mu a na kan ye kan akwakosia ne se enye de ehire nwaa na ye sika kokko enye bi awrehemu bi obi be ma obi a na ya awrehemu papa enye danta nyina ne dantawo na emum de sika bɔ ano yehu a yefe obi tu kwan akɔba a yefe sɛ obi akwaba na nkrofo ekyin bi gu ne komu bi gu ne nsa no ɔkɔba na yefe na emum wanhwɛ a wode ho bɔkɔ akɔto asɛm a oyonne ene atete pa na wode ɛbɛma wo ho. Misbawu, what about child trafficking? So we're speaking about ladies who are being trafficked for sex trade. What about child trafficking and smuggling?
Yes. That is another problem. It's a problem because of what she said earlier, poverty.
Okay.
You see, parents find it difficult. We have one person having about 6, 7, 8 children. So taking care of them in these times is always difficult. So they tend to, there is this culture, the way of doing things, especially in our rural areas. They tend to give out the children to maybe family members, uncles, and whatever, who are into maybe farming and especially fishing. We find a lot of children working under those hazardous conditions. They dive into the river to untangle nets and what have you. It's a serious issue, especially when it comes to internal trafficking. For across border, it is in a minimal.
Okay.
It's often smuggling. It's like somebody has money to smuggle himself out there and has kids here. So he wants them to join him out there. Then they will do fictitious.
Is that not legitimate smuggling?
Yes. So and yes, you see how funny and difficult smuggling is. So and it's like the fellow does everything to bring the kids out there, but the processes it's so fictitious and so fraudulent that it amounts to smuggling. Okay. So it's for the child trafficking, it is more internal than across borders. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So I'll open my phone lines now. Say obepe say odewa no be to enkomodidi mu. Obi wo ho a obi adada no say ye do betu kwan kwa burochire ye du ho. Wedu airport na so o document na ya age afi so obi so ha waje usika say obeboa ana say sebi obi kra ede wo akọ eye be si ebra yi mu a obetimi kra na wafre na oni edisa nkomo no nti boaboa ho. We want all of you to be behind your phones. Very soon we are going to open the lines and we'll ask you to weld into this conversation and share your experience with us. So on person be who ni power ya wo kra mo wudi na emum eya disuade ana yesua eye Misbawu ne until Lizzie nyina can say once there is education we can curb on all these menace. Ye nyina ye be say ye be ko baby a obìnrin be can say greener pastures na nke wo so gu yenum saa, but if you are not careful you will put yourself in so much trouble. Misbawu, last on one of the things you have mentioned, what about trafficking to harvest human parts?
Yes. So it is a lucrative business as we speak now.
And does it happen in Ghana?
Yes, it happens, but not like us in harvesting it in Ghana. Okay. But they take the victims out of Ghana and go out there to harvest, because it's on average a kidney costs no less than $20,000 to $50,000.
Okay.
So if you are able to get 3 or 4 people and take them out there, you are making almost
a lot of money.
Yes.
I hope my viewers will not call and you want to put your kidney on display for sale. Before you realize, also, please, I want to sell my kidney. If it's 20,000 to 50,000, you make money. That's not what we are talking about. Here, Pacha says somebody can hold you up, deceive you. You are traveling to a certain country, and unfortunately, will go and harvest a part of you. Please continue in that regard.
So, and how it is done, it's just through the agency, the recruitment agencies here. They would know. Sometimes they don't know, but they will know that this particular group of people who are going to this particular country.
Are there some countries that these things happen?
It's we don't have a specific country, but it's across. You go there and you sometimes they even do it without your consent or without you even knowing. You go, they drag you, they give you food to eat or drink to take. When you finish eating, you're off. Okay. So by the time you wake up, they are done doing what they want to do to you. Oh, okay.
So do they do it in such a way that you will survive at some point in time, or they want to finish you?
It's in two. When they even there are situations whereby they will take you out there to that place and they find out that your kidneys are not even good. Okay. So would you like this? They might waste you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. And because if you wake up, you will.
Yes, they might waste you. And then those who, fortunately, theirs are functioning well. When sometimes some of them. They even do them a little bit good because they find employment for them. Just leave them. There is a lot of exploitation after they are harvested. Oh, okay. So they will just get what they want, get you a job, and then you are on your own. Okay. Yeah. And they will intend go and sell the parts. So beyond kidney, what are some of the parts that can be harvested as well? For now, a lot of the distance are about kidney.
Kidney, okay.
And then sometimes heart. Okay. But the heart is rare. It's the target is the kidneys. Okay. Yes.
All right. Let's open the phone lines. 025-625-3461. 025-625-3461. If you have been a victim of human trafficking and smuggling, or a relative, a son, a daughter, wait me afraid now also so what share we experience na yenyina ye de sua ade de be ka say WTV so de ye ba be sua ade said ye be ya ade a enye no ye be bo hu dawuro na ye gyan na mum de ye no ye be bo hu dawuro na ye nyina yakoso ana yato aso na yaye. Yeah, so let's come to you. Where in Ghana is all right? So I have Reverend Edujemfi. Reverend, the world.
My Paris.
I just for home. Hey.
Yes, you are pa na monso e.
Nyamiadom.
Program na me baso.
Yo, braso. Ujina so dada.
Trafficking no. My adwuma wo Atebubu. Kwame danso yeji ene kodokrum nyina. Na wo hwa enkwala nketoa no. Omo koto omo afiri ahiafo no ho. Na omo de nkwala na baye adwuma ewo nsuo no so. Enti bi habon se akora no omo na ye adwuma kɔ de net no kwase e ba enti bi okɔ omo kɔ baba no omo wuntu bo sanadwo omo koto omo twin baabi akɔsie wo na eme akɔso nyina mpani friends wo nim na die ben pa na omo ye de aboaye ebi se yo hu omo kwala yi se nkwala nketwa e wo nsuo so a omo eye adwuma enti ye besre omo mo e kakra afi ye ma no so ye tu omo afefe de ne dɔɔso enti emema ne daadaa wo mo a na wo makɔtɔ wo mo ebinom egu ha sese dia beso mo nse ebinom ton wo mo overs na mo de agi se iPad 24 sa iPad 30 e ma no dwumadi de se e wo Ghana ha yate se e koso enti mo mientwe enu ne yehwe na mom de mesense obi biara abofra ye kochi no na se dia ne maame e na ton no e de ma afarefo no a omo ye nu nyina punishment no omo mfa npepepe enu betimi aboa ama esi ano kwan na me kwe ma me fa we nto aso enura me hwe ndie bi o TV so ya water bodies no baabi o hono ma onsuo no wo mo ekosa no mo de alomagum amani ate ne de abaye banchemore ne ye beton enura TV3 alon no the content yɛde egu mu abɛte ani no ɛbɛsɛsɛ ho ma yɛ water and sewage enti minim sɛ ne esitie ebi nso de hypochlorite no mu de egu and wonim dodo also de gu mu ɛno nso sɛ de ɛbɛma nsuo no ayɛ no ma no mu nti no ɛno nso ɛsɛ ho de mesrɛ mo twi minister for western housing sɛ water minerals no na wɔmmra ha no mɛkyerɛ de ɔmo betimi ayɛ ɛde aboa ɛnyɛ sɛ asɔfoɔ yɛn nyinaa ɛbɛsɔre ne yɛ demonstration de atia because yɛma no ana yɛkum wɔn mo nsuo minerals ɛwɔ mu no ɛsɛ yɛn medase
yo yes we that's it minim sɛ na asɔfoɔ ka sɛ asɔfoɔ ɛbɛsɔre ne yɛn nyinaa yɛwuwu yɛwuwu prego Liz, it appears everybody is desperate for money, and because of money we don't care about others. There are some ladies who are watching, and I want you to gradually give a solution. Yes, you have professed some solution, but if anybody wants to contact you, come for help, where will they find you?
Okay, well, we have a website.
Okay.
The organization has a website which is globalfreedomnetwork.org.
Okay. globalfreedomnetwork.org.
Yes. And we also have a dedicated website for the app, which is faithforfreedom.org.
Okay, faithforfreedom.org. Okay.
Yes, so that app has information. There's an email address, so you can email us.
Okay.
And there's a list of NGOs and referral pathways there, so you can actually contact some of the NGOs for further assistance if you need material support or whatever. But if you want to get in touch with me, then yes, you can email me through that email. There's an email address on the app.
Okay.
You can scan the QR code and download it on your phone.
Not everybody has an email, so that if it's a number, that can be a little easier.
Okay. Yes, I can. I'm happy to give my number out. Yes. Okay. My number is 05083 19462. So if anybody wants to reach me, 05083 19462. Yes, that's my number. And if anybody wants to reach me to discuss. So
anybody at all who is in a desperate situation is able to get to you.
Yes, and I can offer
link them up
link with an NGO through the Faith for Freedom app or
Okay.
Yes,
All right. I'm sure you'll be having a lot of calls today because a lot of people. So let's come to our brother Misbawu. We fireman.
Hey.
Fireman.
Aye. Me dey say mo tricky topic we. Ade we bibi a me ka de bi fe mu pa. Okay, etumadi oba na odi aya na e bae.
Oh.
At the same time madam for be so. Onu so the same thing. Oba na odi aya na odi bae. Ibi mu wo lu ma. Ye ka say ye tu kwan ye ko Dubai. Ye nye tu me bi wo lu. No mu di bi ka gidi. Me tu Ghana fofo. So mu nya hwe ye. Eduma bebre e wo Ghana hanom. Minka se utu kwa ya enya na se enye. Ansa na obetu kwa no bisemu ansa. Bi won ma do kwa ku ka ya hyawo. Bisu won ma obekwa ka ye mpuntu eduma. Eduma ye din. Na obewie no ifa so be na obenya. Mesle Ghana for. Ye momodia ansa no bi edu betu kwa no. Ye very careful. Nyami onhira mu na.
All right, nyami so enhira. According to the oboss wo Ghana, ye de empaibo pa na beba oso. Uja, your fireman, uja, because ministers, one more preachy, one more sorry them. And I even know that even in Islam, people are hoping and praying they will travel in one way or the other. At some point in time, I have lived in Mamubinima for some time, and everybody was going to Libya. Everybody was going to. So if you're able to go to Libya, and the pathway to Libya obviously was through the Sahara, and people were going and coming and displaying wealth. Why will I also not go? All right. So, my brother, what are some of the interventions that have been put across from your sector for people to assess?
Yes. For assessing, we this program like this is one of the platforms. We have a national plan of action.
I have Osofu Idrisu. Osofu Idrisu, who Kasafi Kumase Ntoso. Yo, Osofu Idrisu. Na ufu name ni Idrisu den?
Idrisu Isaka.
Idrisu Isaka yo. Yeti. O ya Methodist Osofu ana?
The Assemblies of God.
Oh, Assemblies of God Osofu. Yo, Osofu Nyame Nhira yeti yo.
You, the American discussion I'm going a good discussion partner. Now, is a your penny phone answer. So, Bema and Mabunan, that's all my boy. A Becoswa, or the Moke. Because you see, I'm not to be him about the last my affair. I use my visa because of the system, I will buy. And I asked for the plan of first who be the suit to buy, and that's what happened to him. Okay, okay, fine. And if you were falling for Rabuna, the sorry. Utin said, or mine, because the leaders so agree. This is a gift of 24 nay, or my moon 24 a cabby woman in a kind of boom. Now, sorry, said a bear, or man, but or man, take a maboon and do something, Pensona. Which is a ability as I know we were also. And if the Americans are more near I am fire with you. That I'm more and master program.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Misbawu, that is a point we are raising. Everybody wants to. I'm sure that even within the immigration service, people wish they travel. So, yes.
I did mention that we don't frown on migration.
Okay.
Migration has its positives, and then if you look at the negatives, the negative is far outweighing the positive.
Okay.
Especially in the region we find ourselves, because of the desperation or the desperate nature of people wanting to travel. You understand? So people would take advantage of them because of their vulnerability.
Okay.
So, as you were asking of the intervention, we work under the umbrella of 4 P's.
Okay.
And then the P's are that we prevent. We try to prevent by doing advocacy, education, going to the malls, the churches, lorry parks, educate the public on the dangers or we don't only bother on only trafficking. We try to let them know how the difference between regular and irregular migration. We educate the public with that particular prevention, that first P. And then we try to protect in case there is trafficking. We do a lot of protection, especially of our victims. Then with that, once we are busy protecting the victims, the traffickers will try to prosecute them.
Okay.
So as we speak now, for the past 2 years, immigration has trained about 30 prosecutors to fight and prosecute immigration-related offenses. But I happen to find myself at the anti-human trafficking and smuggling unit. So I do human trafficking prosecutions. Since our training or our capacity building, we have been able to gain about 4 convictions.
All right, I have another caller. Maybe you want to ask a question. Apia, 𝗂𝗂𝗧𝗧. Yo, yetio.
I was at the diocese.
Okay.
Last week, Miss Ray, this time program we are not very teaching Methodist now Ghana. Now, I'm not going to American, but I'm not clear more discussion. I say, a Juma, and or Maim Kahonema, Sanoma, Winna, Sisi. Intimidating be a may, and I answer a sort no. Yen to me, and yet, you mamma and Palana, Banunya, man, if it's so blue, will be a varsity what if you, when you may be an empty, will be that and a crab, so Dubai. The 5,000 Oka, Obey, at the Papa no can. Oka, Edma be Brewa, yet my papa don't coco yet. The blue Befina, the Ariane, intimidate mistress here. This is the time, Anka, and so on and so on. Yen, a dear be a mere bunna air banner. Then you may be what I saw him. It's just all pa, I saw me. Mantina, a free I saw. And I'm in ma, Omunyan. And the master said,
also move here, sorry, you may say you more munyanye. And in the minyanya, abakosem no. Oh, fear, sorry, Miss Anzo near Jumaye.
And I was even say, I saw the cry, I said, and ye be near ye, I was not a granny.
No more man at Jumaye, dear.
I do a woman at Jumaye. And so at the end of the day, no. And so at the end of the day, the be an a papa did a messer and say, and so on, so you be shassi and anka, yet to me, ye be diaboa, ma, and prominent and I young vision.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's a growing concern. So continue your piece.
So the prosecution, for the past 2 years, we have been able to send a strong message to especially the agents that if you are caught trafficking, we are going to prosecute you. So as we speak now, the lowest number of years we have somebody has been convicted is 5 years.
Okay.
And we have,
but 5 years is it not still very small?
Yes,
it will come very soon.
We had another Nigerian who was convicted for 15 years.
Okay.
And then the victims were about 6. So the court ordered that the trafficker should compensate them. Apart from the 50 years, there should be a compensation of 10,000 Ghana cedi for each of the victims.
Pay.
So you see, so
it's a
start. We are pushing. There's another agent too who was given 8 years.
Okay.
Yes. So it's like we are busily under even the constraints. We are working. We are trying to send a signal out that we want to intervene. We want to do something about trafficking.
Okay.
And then the last P is partnership. We try to partner with NGOs, especially, and any other body that is a stakeholder when it comes to trafficking. In fact, the NGOs have been extremely helpful.
We have another call from 𝗛𝗂𝗺𝗃𝗃. Akom 𝗧𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗃.
Hello.
Hello. Akom 𝗧𝗺𝗃𝗃.
Opinion, I answer ma. Look, we are discussing. Now, Adzika be there. Our friend there, or mine no I didn't see. Now, some of these things are happening. Now, I beg to differ in the sense that expectations of human beings these days, has been so much that people who are not able to read their expectations go into diverse ways to do those things that will enrich themselves. The expectations of many Ghanaians are too much over what they can achieve. That is why some of them are leading into some of these things. Let us go to where they have drought and those and that and that and that, where there's wars and everything. That is why we can say, all
right.
Me, I beg to differ this slogan on my and I beg to differ. If you work, you will get it.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, please continue your piece.
And the partnership, the NGOs have been very helpful. One of the major challenges is how to take care of the victims. Normally, we do sheltering. Okay. And it is so expensive, and even some of the shelters are not available. Especially, we don't, as we speak now, child shelter right now is a difficult thing. So often, if you have a child trafficked, you go and be sheltering her or him with adults, which is not good. Because.
But let's go to 𝗧𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗃. Francis.
Hello.
Yes, Ethiopia.
When I'm going to say, will run from their responsibility. Because if school children, I will only be to catch on there. Say if you are one so they should find a boyfriend or someone that can support them. If around us in our empire, it is happening, and it's something that is terrible. I will be responsible and some of these things will not come up.
All right. Yes, you may continue.
Yes, I think the sheltering I was talking about is a problem for us, because for you to be able to investigate and then prosecute a trafficking case, and our court systems, it normally takes time. So you will need somewhere to keep the victim as your witness.
Okay.
So, and you have to provide all the care, all the basic lessons. We take care of their clothing, their feeding, even their psychological lessons. We get professionals talking to them, prep them for prosecution. And it's always a challenge. Getting the shelter is a problem. And how to take care of them, because you have to pay. And you know, this time around things are a little bit difficult. Raising funds to take care of such lessons are always difficult. So we always fall on NGOs, to support.
All right.
Yeah.
So the NGOs, you have been very, very formidable and very helpful. Can we get about 2 stories of such an integration of how immigration approached you, you helped, and these people have been either sent back home or been integrated back into the community, just for our viewers to know that it's workable?
Well, we do advocacy mainly, but in the anti-trafficking unit, when we collaborated with the anti-trafficking unit for the poster campaign at the VIP bus station, someone had just come from one of the Middle Eastern countries and got up to tell their story about, you know, what they went through, how they suffered abroad. I think the superintendents took their number and said that they would be able to connect them to an NGO and make sure that they get the support they need, so maybe counselling or material support. We haven't done too much work with the Ghana Immigration Service. We've done a lot of work with the anti-trafficking unit. Okay. Yes.
Of the police service.
Of the police service, yeah. Right. The anti-trafficking unit, yeah. But yes, so there have been interventions like the NGOs have supported, but we usually refer any victims we come into touch with to the NGOs or through the anti-trafficking unit. They do that when we're working with them. Okay. Yeah. So
your organization is a form of a mediator, working in between these two of them. Yeah. So we are gradually getting to the end of this conversation, but I want Mr. Misbawu to give us hope, because you see, for us seated, we want to see that the nation prospers. Younger people are desperate to travel abroad. As I said, they come with passport to prayer meetings. I mean, last year I gave an example of one of my students in one of the universities who was supposed to write my exams and called directly and they say, I'm not writing. Why you not write? So he has a promise to go to the US. In fact, he's preparing his document to go. The US didn't come on, the exams didn't come on. He's still in the country now. Wow. So from your point as a younger person, somebody who has been in school and is out working and moving on, what advice will you give to younger people?
Yes, the advice is that I'll keep repeating myself. We don't frown on migration.
Yes, you've said it severally. Yes. But we have a caller from ATBA. Okay. Agnes. Aggie. Hello, Agnes. Yeah, this is. Get you. Yeah, this is you. Ujina sopa, ujina mfifi.
The omo ye na ye pa ba tifia no e ma ne nye Wesleyan TV nko an ombekasa e wo so omo ko other TV stations ni na omo ko schools ani tete no omo nka se tia na kwete schools ni na tefo no omo de nye ma ni na se teachers ba teachers no mu timi ni na and na se na be bra ko pa ni e program do ire pa TV o sha fala 14 years a woni teacher anyam na so ko hwe ni kibia ne ne yabia wo digina ho no ma areho nti na stress de omo ye na ye pa no omo bi omo ntaba ni mu kwati na anye TV so ko omo pia bonten omo ko kaya yo ko omo kata edwom omo kata schools omo kata na ye hwe na ne ma tin ko yi na enti mbo na tesi anye sa dia da che ye ni yu e wo Ghana ye yu ki na asa e wo Ghana nti de e ko no edu ba bia na me yam hye no tell me your banty be a meet linker. I am not young to see me fire. Because in some people want to buy when China would see Who send your winner? You do baby, we can be the alpha body panel. If you have a one now, very formal fine. If you also have a won't uniform, or better, higher star, who would be panel yellow. Which is best stress. Okay.
All right. You better say. Inti. You can't say. Nye man kwa no mo shosho. Mema nyina so eyemo ehwehwo inti. Said your more can they want you to move beyond the television
and
go to the schools,
yes.
Especially the universities. You see, is the point at which people move into employment.
Yes.
And once they get a little frustrated, now there's an adage called Terminal 3.
Yes.
Terminal 3. Once they mentioned that people want to move out of this. So we'll give you the last spot you were advising. So just about 30 seconds. Advise us.
Yes. So because of the offenses of smuggling and trafficking, we shouldn't get paranoid and then discourage the traveling public. You are allowed to travel, but do it and do it properly. There are a lot of channels that you can pass. Ghana Immigration Service doors are always open to the traveling public. If you want to travel, you want to go somewhere, seek the right advice. Come to us. We'll advise you and show you where to go and what to do.
All right. Thank you so much. So, Lizzie, your final advice to younger people, especially women.
Yes. What I would say is that it's great to go abroad to seek pastures new, but do it carefully. So do your checks. If there's a job opportunity, a job advert, make sure that you go through the right channels, make your own inquiries, do your due diligence to check that it's a genuine job if you're taking up a job opportunity abroad. And yes, I would,
All right, so you see, always we are interested in the right channel. What are the checks? What are the red flags? Maybe shortly, what are the checks? Yes, immigration has said documentation. You are more on documentation. Make sure the agent who is helping you is doing the right thing. But the question is, how will you know?
I think the Anti-Human Trafficking Unit has a section where they do checks on certain jobs, job adverts. So they you can contact the anti-trafficking unit.
I think that is better. So go to immigration, go to the police service and check.
And do your checks. And if things are becoming desperate, the solution is not to get into like engage in prostitution or anything like that, but I believe that get in touch with, try and look for work and pray, and God will provide.
See, the bit about the money coming out of prostitution is that they claim it's quicker and faster. See, if you go to sell, you won't get that money. I mean, if you go on the street, before you leave there, 1,000 or 2,000 should be in your pocket. But that's what they say. But I don't know whether you wanted to add something last before.
Yes. What I'm trying to say is that with the documentation you asked, how would you know that whatever the agent is doing, some of them are very obvious. The fellow just advertised that, we need there is a vacancy for maid servants in Kuwait, for example. So you go there, the only thing they take from you is your name, and then maybe passport, your father's name and whatever you. They will go and put all the source documents to get a passport. That is your birth certs. Sometimes the cards and whatever, they fake all of them. All that you'll be there is that they'll give you a call that go to passport office and go and snap a picture and take your biometrics. Then they get the passport. This is so obvious because you didn't present anything, including your birth certificate, for it to be acquired. Then after you picked up the passport, you are there and they call you that tomorrow your ticket and your visa is ready. Come and we'll go. This is very obvious. So you understand? So with this, it's so much of a red flag. There is no free lunch anywhere. They can't do all these things for you and you just go and holiday and come back. No.
It doesn't work like that.
Yes, you pay one way or the other.
All right.
So if you go through this is very obvious. But if you partake in all the processes that you have done before traveling, it's okay.
All right, so traveling is good, immigration officer says, but make sure you present your own documents that are authentic. Legitimate travel, Ghana Immigration Service is not against it. They are against fictitious traveling. So that was from Assistant Superintendent Yussif Misbawu, lead investigator and prosecutor of the Anti-Human Trafficking and Smuggling in Person Unit, AHSTIP, of the Ghana Immigration Service. Our brother, yes, thank you so much for honoring our invitation. And we also had with us Madam Elizabeth Poku, who is Program Coordinator, Global Freedom Network. Mama, thanks for passing through. We are very, very grateful.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Sure. All right. Enti yemfi ha enchebia we ba be di asana ya mamo ba krenti mo de mo ntwen ye kakra ye twan ye ho aba ye ba ye beto aso na ya mamo ba mo nka ye hu se ye bisa mo se wo eye wo Sunday service twa mu eye nkwala ana ye momu eye service ne man na eye children's week ana afi ye di wie kura be ye children's Sunday. How did you celebrate? How did your children celebrate this Sunday in your church? We've gotten a few videos we show you. Dear Maya, you still have opportunity. Baby, a phone line also so ama wona said ye frano edi eye Sunday ye twemui now also so ode actually. Thank you very much. We are coming back to you soon.